What's up, guys? Well, welcome to today's live training. Today is all about how to not get bored with your meal plan or with your meal prepping. Okay. As we know, it's really easy. We've all kind of been there at that point, right? We've all been there like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired of eating these foods. Or maybe that's even what's stopping you from getting started with a nutrition plan because you think that you have to eat the same foods over and over and over again. And there's just no way that you can do it. Maybe you've started and you just got so tired of eating the same foods all over again that you eventually just went back to your normal ways of eating and your normal ways of being. So what we're going to talk about today is actually how to not get bored with your meal plan and with your meal prep. So let's just go ahead and jump right into it. So what we're going to cover today is the actual process that we teach at iFM Coaching on how to not get bored. Then the other big thing we're going to do is how to avoid some of the major mistakes that people make when they're doing meal prepping or when they're starting a nutrition plan. Okay. And if we have time, we're going to go into some bonus level techniques that the really elite people really use. Okay. So guys, if this is your first time watching me, this is your first time watching this. My name is Zambrano. I'm the lead coach and nutritionist for iFM Coaching. And what I do is I help people clear up the confusion of nutrition and exercise and show them how to transform while maintaining the lifestyle that they want and having the body that they want. Okay. As we all know, it's really easy to have the lifestyle that we want, go out to eat, go on vacation, go do all these things. But does that really get us the body that we want? Okay. As we all know, it's really easy to get the body that we want. Just sacrifice life, sacrifice fun, live in the gym, and eat all the right foods all at the same time. But that's not really giving us the lifestyle that they want. So my goal and my job is to clear up the confusion and show you how you can have both the lifestyle and the body that you want. And so I've been doing this for 22 years. I love what I do. It's my passion. It's what I do, my 9 to 5. I work with people all day long, every day, and I've done it for the last 22 years, and I absolutely love what I do. So if this is your first time, thank you, and you are going to love all the content that we have. If you are returning, then I want to say thank you for coming back and continuing to watch the things that we're doing, okay? Enough about that. Let's go ahead and jump right in on how to not get bored, okay? Now, here's the thing. There are basically two types of people. Every single time that people come to me and they want to get a nutrition plan, I see two types of people, okay? The first type of person I see is somebody who says, Aaron, just tell me what I need to do. And I just want to make it as easy as possible. And I just want to make the meal prep easy. And just, that's it. Okay. Just tell me what I need to make. Tell me what I need to, what I need to cook. Okay. So you got those types of people. Okay. But then I also have people who come into it, say, hey, look, I don't want to just be told what to do. I need a variety of foods because I've tried to do these meal plans before, but I need to get a variety. Okay. So those are the two basic types of people. And as you can think, they're pretty extreme. One is just tell me what I need to eat. And the other one is, hey, I need a variety of things. Okay. And there's nothing wrong with being either one of them. Okay. But you have to know the problems that those things have. So if you're the type of person that just says, hey, just tell me what I need to cook. I just want to make the meal prep process. The positive thing is the meal prep process will be pretty easy. Okay. The downside is you're going to get bored really fast eating the same things over and over and over again. And that's usually why people quit, because they can't do the same thing. Okay. But if you're that type of person that says, hey, I need a variety. Okay. I need to start with the variety. Okay. Well, then what happens is you might start your meal prep process and get so overwhelmed. You see a grocery shopping list, you see a list of all the healthy foods that you want to eat, and you end up getting totally overwhelmed because there's just so many foods that you can cook. You don't know how to pair it together. You don't know how to make a meal of it, right? And then you think of another issue of, oh, I just need recipes, right? But the problem is always trying to have variety and starting off with a big major variety. It's very overwhelming when it comes to actually buying the food. It's very overwhelming when it actually comes to putting it together for a meal. And it's a very complicated meal prep process. Okay. So the meal prep process ends up being very difficult, very challenging. So it's something you don't do on a regular basis. Okay. So number one, you have to know what kind of person you are. Are you the person that just says, hey, I just want to make the meal prep process easy? Or are you the type of person that says, hey, I want to, I want to have a variety? When you know what kind of person you are, it's really easy to say, okay, look, I need to know that if I am the type of person that just wants to be told what to eat, I'm probably going to get bored. So I need to learn how to have a variety. But if you're the type of person that wants a ton of variety, you're probably going to have a hard time with actually keeping up with the meal prep on a week to week basis. So the real answer is learning how to be somewhere in the middle. You don't want to be way over here because you're going to have these problems. You don't want to be way over here because you're going to have these problems. The real answer is learning how to be somewhere in the middle. Okay. So this is actually the actual way that IFM coaching, the way we teach people to actually go through this process to learn what they enjoy, what they can meal prep on a weekly basis, what foods they like, and obviously how to not get bored eating the same things over and over again. Okay. So if you're watching this for the first time or you're listening on how to not get bored, here are the basic fundamentals of what we teach every single one of our clients that comes into our coaching program. Okay. So number one, it starts with the grocery shopping process. Okay. Now, in the grocery shopping process, as you know, when my clients get a meal plan, they have 50 different foods that they can have, or at least 50 different foods that they start with. But there's literally 200, 300, 400 foods that they can have. There's really limitless on the types of foods that they can have. But we want to break it down a little simple and say, hey, let's start off with these 30 to 40 to 50 foods. Okay. But when you go grocery shopping, you don't want to go buy everything on the grocery list. You don't want to buy every healthy food that's out there. Okay. Because again, that's going to be too overwhelming. But you also don't just want to buy one of everything, because within a day, you're going to get really, really tired of eating everything. So this is the technique that we teach people to do. Okay. So they'll get a list of foods that they can have. Okay. So they'll pick 2 to 4 carbs from their carb list. They'll pick 2 to 4 proteins from their list. They'll pick 2 to 4 fats from their list. They'll pick 2 to 4 vegetables from their list. Okay. And this is when it gets next level stuff. They get 2 to 4 different seasonings. Okay. And herbs. Right. And then they get 2 to 4 different condiments. We have a whole condiment list of things that people can have. Okay. Now, as you can see just right there, okay, you have a variety of carbs, you have a variety of fats, you have a variety of proteins, a variety of vegetables, a variety of seasonings, and a variety of condiments. Just right there, you have enough to keep you busy. Okay. You didn't go buy 10 different carbs. You didn't go buy 10 different proteins. Okay. You bought just 2 to 4, but with those 2 to 4 carbs, you have enough variety to get you started. Okay. So that's step one, is learning how to do that. Okay. Then what you do is you meal prep it, you keep it pretty simple. Okay. It makes your meal prep stay pretty simple when you do that. But when you do that, the next time you go grocery shopping, you buy 2 to 4 different carbs, 2 to 4 different proteins, 2 to 4 different fats, 2 to 4 different vegetables, 2 to 4 different seasonings, and 2 to 4 different condiments. Okay. Funny story. If you go into my kitchen right now, okay, you're going to see I have about 20 different seasoning combinations of things that I can do, whether it's a seasoning, a herb, a spice, or whether it's a seasoning blend like fajita seasoning or taco seasoning or something. Okay. You're going to see literally 20 plus different seasoning things that I can put on my food to always change it up. Okay. If you also look at my fridge, this is kind of funny. I'm like the master of hot sauce, right? So if you look at my fridge, I have a ton of different hot sauces, whether it's sriracha, whether it's a hot sauce from Guatemala. I have that right now, and it's delicious, right? Whether it's a Louisiana hot sauce, or whether it's Tapatio or Valentino, which I have both of those in my refrigerator. But I also have fresh salsa. I have green salsa, and I also have red salsa. So I have a variety of different condiments that I know work for me, okay? And that just allows me to add a different layer of flavoring, okay? So not only am I telling you to do this, I actually practice this. And this is what allows me to eat healthy on a week-to-week basis like clockwork, because I have a variety of things. And that's just step one of buying 2 to 4 different things, okay? So as you go through this process, you're going to, every time you go grocery shopping, you're going to buy 2 to 4 different carbs, 2 to 4 different fats, proteins, Then you're going to cook that, meal prep it, and then you're going to start to figure out what you like. The next time you go grocery shopping, you buy a different variety of foods. Okay. The next time you go grocery shopping, you buy a different variety of foods. And eventually you'll get to a spot where you realize what's really easy for you to meal prep. And you'll realize what is something that you can eat all the time. Okay. We've all met those people, right? We've all met those people who every single day they show up to work or they show up to class or they show up to the office or they show up to the gym and they're always eating the exact same thing every single time. We probably think in our head, oh my gosh, I can't be that person who eats the same thing all the time, but what you're not seeing is the process that they actually took to get there. Because I can promise you what they did is they started off with trying out all these different foods and then realizing, hey, you know what? It's so much easier for me to stay consistent with my meal prepping if I just cook these particular foods. And you know what? It's not that bad. Right. And so that's why they end up eating the same foods all the time. Okay. They didn't start there and just eat the same foods all the time. They started with more variety and slowly narrowed their way down to figure out what it is that they really like. Okay. So when you can do that, it really makes a big difference in being able to not get bored. Okay. So having said that, I'm gonna just scroll through my notes here. Okay. Now, let's say you are that person. Okay. You follow the exact structure. You buy to two to four different carbs, fats, and proteins, and so on and so forth. Okay. And you slowly start to narrow down the foods that you can eat and make all the time to make your meal prep process a little bit more simple. And you make it to where you actually enjoy the food. Okay. Now, if you're that person, okay, if any of my clients who've been with me for 6 months to a year, you're already that person. Okay. You know what foods you like to cook. You know what foods you can eat on a regular basis. Okay. Now, the next question is how do I actually not get bored with these particular foods? Okay. I'll be very, very straight with you. Okay. I buy the same proteins all the time. I buy the same carbs all the time, the same, fats all the time. Okay. Because that's what I found out that works for me. Okay. But even with buying the same foods all the time, okay, I have learned to mix it up and how to change it. Okay. So here is a step-by-step process. If you're buying the same foods all the time, as we know, there's only a certain amount of healthy foods, right? There's only a certain amount of healthy foods and healthy foods that we like that we can eat on a regular basis. Okay. So we end up narrowing it down to about 3 or 4 carbs that we eat all the time anyways, right? So if you're that person, then here are some things that you can do without changing the types of foods that you eat. Okay. The number one way to keep yourself from getting bored with eating the same foods all the time is number one, change your cooking method. Okay. If you are always baking your chicken, okay, you get tired of it. Okay. You can't always bake your chicken. Change your cooking method. You can bake it. You can grill it outside on the grill. You can cook it on the stovetop, on the skillet. Okay. You can do a crock pot. Okay. You can stick it in the crock pot and you can do it. And even some things like fish, like shrimp, you can even make like a ceviche out of it. Okay. And these are all ways of changing the cooking method. Okay. You would be so surprised if all you did was go from baking your chicken to cooking it on the stovetop. It makes a huge difference. Okay. If you're always cooking on the stovetop, it makes a huge difference to put it into a pressure cooker or put it into a crock pot. It makes a huge difference in the texture of that food. And it makes a difference on how we taste it. Okay. So the number one way to change up your food and to keep yourself from getting bored is to change up your cooking method. Okay. The second way to change up your food is to change your seasonings. We've already talked about that. Again, we get lazy sometimes, right? We get lazy where we're like, okay, I'm not going to think about meal prepping and I'm just going to put lemon pepper on my chicken and I'm going to put, taco seasoning on my turkey, right? And then we eat it all the time. We get burned out. Okay. You've got to rotate your seasonings. I have a personal rule that I never meal prep the same flavor of food 2 times in a row. Okay. I never do it. Sometimes I will go months without flavoring my food the same way every time. Okay. Because that's how many different seasonings I have. And I meal prep twice a week. Okay. So change up your seasonings, change up the things that you use, get creative, experiment. Okay. What's the worst that can happen? It doesn't taste good. Okay, great. You're still going to eat it. If you're anything like me, you're still going to eat it. Okay. Maybe that's the little fat guy in me coming out. Okay. But you're still going to eat the food. Okay. That's just part of the process is learning to get creative. Okay. But the other thing that you can do is change up your condiments. Okay. I've already told you about the 20 different hot sauce bottles that I have in my refrigerator. Okay. If you do that, that will change it up. Okay. So this is kind of like level two of changing up your food. The first thing is buy different foods, go to the grocery store and figure out what it is that you like. Okay. Once you figure that out, then you can start changing up your cooking method, changing up your seasonings, changing up your condiments. Okay. When you really need those changes. Okay. So far we've covered what type of person you are and the problems that covers. Okay. We've covered kind of the basic fundamentals of how to go grocery shopping, and how to not get overwhelmed with buying everything on your meal plan, but also how to kind of keep a variety in there. Okay. So we've talked about that. And we've also talked about once you find what you really like, how to change that up so you're not getting bored. I'll tell you, my favorite one on that list is changing the cooking method. If you change the cooking method, I'm telling you, if you go, I'll real quick story. I like to tell stories. So if you haven't watched this before, you're going to know that I like to tell stories. Okay. In my very first bodybuilding show that I've ever done, okay, I've done, I don't know, 11, 12 or something. Every week, I can't remember how many I've done, but I've done 10 plus. Okay. My very first bodybuilding show that I ever did. Okay. I was working with a guy and he basically told me that I had to eat the same thing every single day. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Actually, I was eating 6 meals a day, and all I was eating was chicken and rice at every single meal. Okay. And it was just salt and pepper. And that's all I could use was salt and pepper. And I baked my chicken all the time. Okay. This was in 2008. And all I did was eat salt and pepper baked chicken. Okay. Here we are. What is it? 14 years later. And I ate it so much. I ate it for 16 weeks straight for 6 meals a day. Okay. I am terrified now of baked chicken. I honestly cannot tell you the last time that I actually baked my chicken and ate it. 14 years later, I am completely scarred from eating baked chicken because of that experience. Yes, I know I can change the seasonings. Yes, I know I can change all this stuff, but it was such an awful experience that I never want to eat baked chicken again. Okay. And that changes the way I cook some of my food, right? Because just the thought of baked chicken grosses me out. Okay. You don't ever want to get to that point. When you get to that point, that's a bad place. That means that you didn't change it early enough and often enough. Okay. So you got to make sure that you're changing up your cooking method all the time. It's key. If you don't know how to use a pressure cooker or how to use a rice cooker, I would encourage you to use a pressure cooker or a rice cooker to cook your chicken, to cook your turkey, to cook your fish. It is a game changer. It saves you so much time, but not only that, the food just tastes different because it has a different texture. Okay. All right, cool. So let's go ahead and stop there. Okay. And let's go into these bonus level techniques. Okay. On how to not get bored. Okay. All of my clients, every single one of my clients I have, whether it's my competition clients who are getting ready for a show, or if it's my high achiever lifestyle clients who are just trying to look good and keep the transformation that they made, or maybe even my beginner clients who just learning and starting their journey of eating healthy. Every single one of my clients, they will eventually get to this point where we start to go to bonus level things. Okay. Now, here are the bonus level things. Okay. So, number one, let's just go back and just say, okay, let's say you found what works for you. For breakfast, you can eat egg whites and oatmeal and blueberries. I'm just making this up. Hopefully, none of my clients are eating that. That's such an old school bodybuilding thing. But let's just say you found the breakfast that works for you. Okay. Let's say you found the lunch that works for you that you can eat all the time. And let's say you found the dinner that works for you and you found the snacks that work for you. Let's say you're just a basic level person. You have 3 meals and 2 snacks. Okay. Well, you have your baseline meal plan of what works for you. Okay. Now, next level is to have a backup to each one of those things. So have a backup breakfast option. Have a backup lunch option, have a backup dinner option, have a backup snack option for snack 1, and have a backup snack option for snack 2. Okay. Because we've all gotten to that place where, oh man, I just don't feel like eating my food today. Okay. I just don't feel like eating it. I don't feel like eating my dinner, whatever it is. Okay. We've all gotten to that place. And when we get there, we need to have options. Okay. If you don't have a backup, guess what's going to happen? I don't feel like eating my dinner today. let's go get pizza, right? That's our default, right? Oh, I don't feel like eating my breakfast today. Let's go get McDonald's or let's go have pancakes, right? But if you have a backup option, okay, then when you get to that place of I don't feel like eating this today, then now you can just go to your backup option. It's really simple. So make sure you have one backup option for all of those meals and snacks that you have. Okay. That's level one, call it advanced level one. Advanced level two is to have a backup option to your backup option. I know it sounds crazy, but if you say, oh man, I don't feel like eating my dinner today, and then you go to your backup option, you're like, man, but I don't feel like eating that today either. Okay. It's always great to have that third option that you can have, the backup to your backup. Okay. And more times than not, that will solve 90% of your problems if you have a backup to a backup. So if you have three layers, you have what you normally like, what you normally can eat. You have your backup option to that. And then you have a second backup option to that. You have a whole meal plan and ways to vary it up. Okay. And that's, if you can do that, that's a way that you can stay on your meal plan. You can continue to eat healthy and you can continue to get results if you do that. Every single one of my clients, especially my high achievers are those who have made the transformation and have kept the transformation off. Okay. Whether it's lifestyle clients or whether it's competitor clients, every single one of my high achievers, they have this. They have their main foods that they eat. Then they have a backup to those foods for each meal. And then they have a backup to that. Okay. Now, if all else fails and you get through all three of those and you still don't want to eat something, well, then you know what? Go enjoy your cheat meal. It's probably time for a cheat meal. Okay. If you can't convince yourself to do it, go enjoy a cheat meal. And there's nothing wrong with that because you eventually need to learn how to be okay with doing that. Okay. All right, guys, I have talked long enough. Let's see here. Tess says that she's person number one. She's the type of person that just wants to keep everything really easy, but then she ends up getting bored with her food. And I'll tell you a quick story about Tess. Tess is an amazing, amazing, amazing person. Tess was part of our iFM coaching community, and she's been a part of our community since, I don't know, 2015. She's been part of it for a long time, but never really became a client. And she went on her own transformation journey, was able to see some results, but then she kind of hit a wall and she really couldn't get past that point. And she really couldn't get to a place where she was able to see any more results. And then she finally just said, she was part of this community. She finally said, Aaron, I'm going to go ahead and hire you to be my coach. I trust you. You have knowledge. You have, great wisdom, whatnot. And so we started coaching, and we've been coaching for about 2 months now. And in 2 months, right from the beginning, the first 30 days, I mean, she probably went, I don't know, 3 or 4 months without being able to get any results. And within the first 30 days, she lost a ton of fat, right? And we're like, okay, maybe it's just newbie gains. Maybe it's just because she's new and she's just starting off. Well, then we went into her second month and she lost again a ton of fat. And so she's a perfect example of somebody who is on this community or in this community who just watched our videos and eventually said, hey, look, I want to take that next step and I'm really ready to start getting results. And she's been trying for a long time. And within 2 months, we probably have been able to get her more results in that 2 months than she's been able to get on her own, trying for years and years and years on end. So Tess is a great testimony of somebody who's been in our Facebook community. Guys, if you want to have a one-on-one conversation with me about your goals, you want to talk about your problems and you want to know how to overcome them, just comment below. Let's talk. You can comment on Instagram. You can comment on Facebook. Let's talk and let's schedule a phone call. Okay. By the end of that phone call, you will be very clear on what your true problem is, how you need to solve it, and the steps that you've got to take to start making your transformation. So if you want to go ahead and get on a call with me, just comment below. Let's talk. Okay. Comment on Facebook, comment on Instagram. Let's talk and let's get after it. Guys, it's been awesome. It's been real. See you next time.